Welcome to this edition of Class Notes, where we'll be talking about negative numbers. So at the top of your page, go ahead and write Class Notes, and then just below that, on that top line, write negative numbers. Now, where in your life have you ever seen a negative number used? The first thing that comes to mind is temperature. You listen to the weather, they say it's going to be 3 below 0, which technically is negative 3 degrees. So let me draw this over here. This is a thermometer. It's going to show us what the temperature is. Now I'm going to put 0 right here in the middle. And just above it we have 1 degrees, 2 degrees, and 3 degrees. So it's pretty cold outside if it's only 3 degrees. Well, let's say there's a wind chill factor, and they say, oh, now it's below 0. Well, below 0, what you're going to do, and I'm going to color this in. Let's say looks like it's 1 below 0. Well, 1 below 0 is negative 1 degrees. As you go below 0, just as though you're going above 0, your numbers get bigger as you get further away from 0, but instead of positive numbers, they're negative numbers. So it shows that it's more of an extreme cold as opposed to an extreme heat, the further away you get from 0 going up. Anyway, that same concept is on a number line. So let me draw this number line over here. We have the line with arrows at both ends. I'm going to draw the 0. I'm going to draw the tick marks first. I'm going to draw the 0 here in the middle. And to the right, I have numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, which are your basic counting numbers going up from 0. Well, just like on a thermometer, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 going the other way. The only difference is they have a negative sign in front of them. So, just as with regular positive numbers, numbers that go to the right are bigger, and numbers that go to the left are smaller. That's the same with negative numbers. And we're going to see that right here. For example, let's say we have the numbers negative 3 and 1. Negative 3 appears on the number line here. 1 appears on the number line there. Now if you look, 1, although the number is smaller than 3, it's further to the right, which means it's a bigger number. Negative 3 is less than 1, so we can put a less than sign, because negative 3 is a smaller number. Okay, well let's try 0 and negative 5. Well, 0 appears here on the number line, of course, right in the middle, and negative 5 appears here on the number line. Okay, well, negative 5 is to the left of 0, and so it has to be smaller. Also, 0 appears to the right of negative 5, thus it must be bigger, and so you can put a greater than sign between 0 and negative 5. Okay, class example. Let's say we have a number being compared to itself. We have 2, and we have negative 2. Well, 2 appears here, and negative 2 appears there. If you notice, they're the same distance away from 0, but one of them is bigger than the other. 2 is further to the right, and thus it is a bigger number, or greater than, so we can put a greater than symbol between 2 and negative 2. Let's do one practice exercise. So just below your thermometer, go ahead and write ordering negative numbers. And we're going to scooch our paper up and have an example. Okay. Write these numbers down. 0 degrees, 115 degrees, negative 15 degrees, negative 32 degrees, negative 40 degrees, 113 and 2/10 degrees, and negative 32 and 7/10 degrees. what we're going to do is reason our way through this and put these numbers in order. Now we're going to put them in order from least to greatest. So we're going to look for the smallest number first. Well, as we looked at the number line before, it's going to be the number that appears furthest to the left. So it's going to be the most extreme negative number. If you look through all these numbers, which one is the most extreme negative number, or the one that's furthest away from 0? It's going to be negative 40. So negative 40 degrees will be our first number. Then you look at your other negative numbers. We have negative 15, we have negative 32, and we have negative 32 and 7/10. So which one is further away from 0? Negative 32 or negative 32 and 7/10? Well, negative 32 and 7/10 is 7/10 further away from 0 than negative 32, so it's actually lower on the number line. So our next number is negative 32 and 7/10, which means the number after that is negative 32. And if you look, we only have one negative number remaining, and so negative 15 is the next number. Now, we don't have any negative numbers left. So 0 is our next number, because everything else is positive. So then we look at our positive numbers. We have 115, and we have 113 and 2/10. Well, even though 113 and 2/10 has more digits than 115, it's still a smaller number because 113 is less than 115, and so 113 and 2/10 is our next number, which means our last number is 115, and we have just finished putting all those numbers in order correctly. Okay, so that's ordering negative numbers. The last thing we need to cover in these notes is opposites. First off, little arrow. Opposites are numbers that add to get 0. With negatives, we can add numbers together and they become 0. Our first example, we have 13 plus something is going to equal 0. Well, 13 plus its opposite will equal 0. Its opposite just happens to be negative 13. So 13 plus negative 13 equals 0. Also, next example. Let's say we have negative 6. What number plus negative 6 equals 0? Well, the answer is 6. Negative 6 plus 6 equals 0. Let's say we have 1/2. We want to add it to its opposite to get 0. Just put a negative sign in front of it, and you get 1/2 plus negative 1/2 equals 0. So we have negative 61. Negative 61 plus what number equals 0? Positive 61. So negative 61 plus 61 equals 0. Let's say we have 1,261 plus something. We want it to equal 0. What are we going to add it to? A negative 1,261. When you add those together, you get 0. Now, what about this one? Let's say we start with 0. What do we add to 0 to make 0, 0? You add 0 to 0 to make 0, 0. So looking at these examples, we're going to write down 3 things we know about opposites when dealing with negative numbers. The first thing, the opposite of any number may be found by changing its sign. We see that in all these examples. So the opposite of any number may be found by changing its sign. Second thing we've learned, opposites are the same distance away from 0 on the number line. Last thing that we learned, if you look at our last example where we have 0 plus 0 equaling 0, 0 is its own opposite. It's the only number where it's the opposite of itself because it has no positive or negative sign in front of it. It's like a neutral number. And that concludes this session of class notes. You have a good day.